playing the game perspective. We struggled to. We are instead here to talk about the performance.
It turns you
and there's
blue
a lot to
and you
talk
run
about with this.
faster.
The game
and
is
jump
somewhat of a
higher
nightmare in that
while in the
aspect too.
tower.
Fortunately for us, that gives us a great opportunity to show this, which is the freshly updated GPU busy plus the new GPU weight and the CPU busy and CPU weight metrics that allow us to pinpoint bottlenecks precisely, even in times of uncertainty. We'll look at all that today, plus some research. We have ultimately a CPU benchmark with a list of about 20 or so CPUs on it, and we would have done more, but because of the device activation limit, that's what we get.
Take a shot of that.
Anyway, but at least they got 280 bucks out of it. We'll show you some of the research that went into finding a test area. This is conducted by actually playing the game and taking frame time samples during the course of play. We take these manually and we assign names to each sample. Here's the result. This was done with an overclocked i7 CPU and an RTX 4090 at 4K. In every single game we test, except Baldur's Gate, 4K is enough to shift the load entirely to the GPU and avoid a CPU bind. That was true in many instances for this game also, but in the city, even at 4K, it was shockingly not enough to overcome CPU limitations, even with our overclock.
Pilson's watching a video about frame rate.
Yeah, and it's not going under 30 frames.
That's the fucking... The range in this game is huge, with a max minus min result of about 91 FPS here. That's massive. That range is the size of a whole different GPU on its own, and it's a huge swing across different areas of the game. In the wilderness areas, we were in the range of 120 to 170 FPS, and we were GPU bound in those scenarios, which improved momentarily with some captured gameplay. Combat did not have a heavy impact on performance unless high counts of NPCs were involved. The towns were the heaviest, though, down in the 70s to 80s for our Burnworth passes, and in the 98 range for the smaller town, Melt. The first cam was also around 98 FPS average. The common factor was the presence of NPCs. After all this work and still set on doing a GPU benchmark, we settled on the highest load area for the game as we prefer to represent something closer to a worst case scenario to give people headroom for figuring out what they need. Unfortunately, at the time, we didn't yet appreciate just how CPU bound this scenario was. Here's the first round of GPU benchmark results. As soon as we observed the 4090 yielded the same performance as a 4070 Ti Super, we knew that GPU benchmarking would be pointless. At least it would be in this area. And this, by the way, was on the 14900K at 5.9 gigahertz, so we had full passes as okay. The first time through an area, it brought its 0.1% lows down to about 6 FPS for that metric, indicating large frame time spikes. Other points of interest include the 5800X2D versus the 5800X, which is a 16.5% benefit.
This is exactly the same issue with the remnant.
In this one, there's a point of diminishing returns, and it's past that point, higher frequency.
It's not about the consistent frames, it's inconsistent frames. What you're talking about is average frames.
Insanely blown out frame time plot from our first run.
Inconsistent frames, it'll be working fine in one point, and then once you get to another point in part of the map, it just tanks.
When this happened, so what this means is that the threads of the CPU are fully occupied processing in the background, and none of those threads are handling the actual rendering and presentation of the frames to the screen. Doing other things. For perspective, that looks like this, what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, why do you think they do that though? Why do you think the game has that behavior?
I'm not saying that it's not
You ready, Ken?
Oh, they still didn't like you, right? Because they're telling you that you play the best way to play is 30 frames.
What do you mean? They're charging you AAA price for AAA experience.
You ready?
You can see we have a frame time spike nearing 270 milliseconds.
I could understand if the game is shit, right? Like the storyline sucks, the gameplay sucks, but the game is working fine. I could understand, right? But it's broken. Like you can't play
it. Fun part that I'm excited about. This is game capture while using GPU to illustrate bottlenecks. The bottleneck is a moving target in this game, which makes this perfect for this new testing, and it shifts between the CPU and the GPU.
Dude, they didn't, like, I'm pretty sure, like, none of these guys, from the beginning, went out of their way to download some mod to make it work. Like, they expect AAA game to work on day one.
But it's really cool, and it gives us some new insight. In the city, tested at 4K with a 49. That's not even my argument. My argument is they didn't lie. They said 30 frames.
What do you mean they didn't lie about it? They charged you AAA price for a non-AAA experience on day one.
We're completely limited by the CPU, even at 4K and high settings. You can also see this in the GPU power metrics histogram, where the GPU is under its power target. Click to photons, about 8 milliseconds here.
When they had the option as a developer to go on early access and be totally transparent about it. It's like, hey, we need more time for optimization for PC, so we're gonna push it back a couple more months.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
That is not really a useful number. So here's why. If you were to check
What kept them from doing that?
which is also great, the latter, you'd see that at least 8
What,
cores,
greed?
sometimes 12,
Like what?
are 100% loaded by the game.
Listen to
The remainder
Pilsen
of the
and
cores go largely
They're having
underutilized,
an
which contributes to the
super
total
Yeah.
utilization percentage
conversation
being lower.
that
It's like
is an
WrestleMania
incredible
almost.
Across the
debate.
entire CPU, and also not all load is the same as calculated here. So we are, in fact, completely
It's
CPU
the
bound,
WrestleMania
even though that number is not showing
blabbing.
100%. That's why that number is basically useless in most instances. Daytime is similarly constrained to nighttime.
Wow.
We're close to parity on areas of the game.
Just like
exiting
when the
city.
two of
You
them
see
are
the
done
load shift
speaking, I
somewhat
just
rapidly
wanna
to the
go.
GPU as soon as we're outside of bounds of where it's processing all the AI for the city. You can see the frame rate climb overall, which means the frame time fine. And you can also see a CPU load climb disproportionately to the GPU load.
Are you
as the
gonna
Griffin
buy this
makes its
game?
way into the
No, I'm not gonna buy this
I
game.
can't believe
Not because the performance. I don't think this is a game that I'll get into. If I ever do want to get into Dragon's Dogma, I have to play the first one. It's cheap enough.
How cheap
I
is
don't,
the
I don't
first
think it. I don't know. It's like $5.
Game seems
That's
very
it?
good, but it has lot of problems
How bad
apparently.
does it look?
Or
Are
PC,
mods-
supposedly.
Are mods allowed on it?
I don't know.
You can doctor it up and mod
I have no idea.
The takeaway is that for testing in
Because
this
you
game,
could even mod
our options
Final
are
Fantasy
these. We wanted to test a
VII
worst case
Remake
scenario
PC,
period between the city.
and there were
We wanted
some
to test
really
a
nice
CPU
mods that
scenario
allows
between the city.
like
And if we
the
or
high
other
quality
reviewers
with
wanted to
unlocked
evaluate
frame
GPU
rates
performance
and
in as
stuff.
isolated a way as possible, it make the most sense to do so. Increased grass quality, as that had a
Weird
hard
shit
impact
that-
on performance.
it's crazy
We
how the
noticed some
modding
animation microstutter
community
with high grass quality as
can
well.
really
And
add
as our
on to the
earlier
game
research chart
that
showed, it didn't really
the
matter
first
whether we
10
were in
AAA
combat or not.
developers
Just find one of the heavier
don't
outdoors areas with a lot of polygons
patch
and geometry,
into, you know,
and hopefully
on
basically
certain
zero NPCs, and that becomes the GPU load. But this was all at 4K, and so
I'm not saying
that's
necessarily it
getting
has to be
confusing.
there at launch, but patched into it at least.
Definitely CPU heavy.
The
It's
part
actually
1
gonna
is
take
very
work.
different.
Wait, someone watch
I
my.
think you
They
don't
just
need to
load
play it.
that many threads that heavily. And in this one, we're
I don't know.
seeing
I'm not really a fan of
CPU
like
100%
team
load
based.
on multiple threads, not a single threaded.
I'm not talking about like
valves, for example, like in the past.
team game
you
like
have
Fallout
to-
76, but like I have to
before it was phased out,
control
things like that.
multiple
This is on multiple
characters.
threads.
Non-Helis,
And we
I
see
think
that,
this
again,
game you
manifest
would like
in
it.
1200
You're not a
Typical
fan of
kind of
Fallout.
game
But
you
it is,
love.
CPU bound
It
in
does
such a
looks
way
like one of those.
as to bring the game to a crawl. It just
But
seems like there has to be
Max
some
just
sort of
got
I
through
don't know.
telling me it's the Far
especially since
Cry
kind of
from
already
party
hinted at that
systems.
something they're working on, developers, that is. The load is heaviest in towns, outposts,
Dragon's
basically
Dogma,
villages, and
you
the city
told me
itself.
the Far
The city
Cry
is the
from a
heaviest
party
of those.
system game.
However, a town or a village or an outpost, whatever you want, the first outpost.
Pilsen saying
is
it
this
is a
what-
party system game?
Is this what they put on as a
But
forum?
it's not a party system how you would normally expect a party system to be like. I'm expecting it like to be like what do you call that game? Well, actually, I knew what it was going to be like because I played the first one, but you would expect it to be like what do you call it, Final Fantasy, and it's nothing like that.
Combat is like Elder Ring.
Dude, they're saying that we are looking into ways to improve the performance in the future because they recognize the problem.
Yes, but they're saying that they're not guaranteeing you if you put it on uncapped that you're going to get better than 30 frames. So they didn't lie.
It doesn't make it okay.
Thing is,
The PR people can come out and say the right things. 16 times the detail. Do you remember that?
Whatever you want. The first outpost is very
you
similar.
like said 60 tons
to
detail,
some
so we
of
got
the
it, and you
city
get 60
performance
tons
later on.
detail. They said
So, in the
30
plains and
frames,
wilderness
and got
and
below 30
post-combat
frames,
scenarios,
and
then
Maybe
then
it does have
the
16
performance
times the
goes up to
detail,
50. It starts
but
with GPU bind, at least with something like a 4090.
I don't know.
4K.
Does it
But
though?
If you're not at a higher resolution and you're on a higher end card, then you might still be kind of in the middle, more balanced.
Maybe into like a technical side point,
To take that
it does have like 16 times.
Is a way to
Like,
do it. You can kill everyone. Kinda
like they
in
went,
the
he
Elder
went to
Scrolls.
some meeting and then it's like it's 16
It is
times.
wild,
Like
though,
he
the
say
performance
these things,
varies so
but
much, because you'll get as much as a 30%
Is it
bump
though?
just by walking out the gate of the city into the
maybe we
immediate
can't see, I
outlying
don't know.
area. It can double in other areas too. So depending on what device combination you have, there is a wide range of performance. This means that for the most part, the game can remain
Play
stable
this
and high
game.
frame rate in situations
It's
where
funny
higher
to
frame rate
watch
matters
and you
most,
will
like
grind
combat
it.
and wild. So that's a good thing. It also means that if you are
No.
GPU heavy, meaning your GPU
if you're
is
smart,
being
if you're
optimized
smart modern
for
gamer,
What?
people,
you would
and
wait
find yourself being large
about a
you
year.
can kind of blast all those
Okay.
settings. They're not really going to hurt the performance.
Go get some games for really cheap that's been patched. They made into Game of the Year edition with all the DLCs unlocked into one package. Buy that and then play that for a while for the new games to go into that cycle and then buy those games when the game is finished. That's what you gotta do nowadays.
The engines, NPC tracking, pathfinding, physics,
It's like
state, whatever's going on in the background, AI.
Like a gaming industry, they're banking on huge on instant gratification
Ask
of
Maxi
gamers,
to buy it for you.
and they're short like patience, like obvious, like that's what they're doing.
I will say it was cool seeing the game. In some instances,
They're taking advantage of the consumer's behavior.
Unless
Like,
you're manually maxing out some of those settings beyond some of that data, that's the answer for you. Makes it a little more GPU heavy, but it wasn't.
they did like this testing with some freaking amazing hardware. Like,
especially if you're on an older device where there was more. It seems to.
this is 2020. Well, I don't know. It's been going on for a while, but this is still the standard of 2024.
That's it for this one.
Triple A experience in gaming industry, dude.
Or patreon.com/gamers.
Even the developer came out and said it is not like meant to. We are looking forward to improve the performance, dude. They're looking into it. They said, meaning if they know that if it's locked at 30, if you go any beyond using this engine and it will break the game, they will just come out and say that it's beyond our control. But they're saying that we're looking to fix the
They
performance.
said they're looking in to see if they can fix it. They don't know if they can. Because of the engine, they don't know if they can fix it, but they're gonna look into it.
It's the same freaking.
And that's not the same as Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk told you you could get like 60 frames, bro.
No, they technically did not. Technically did not say that. But then there is this huge assumption. Yeah, it is an assumption when they break it down to two different. There's one that's saying required. You need this hardware. It requires you to have this hardware to run the game, right? And then recommended. Okay, and then if you have the hardware to run the recommended spec, and if it runs at 30, you would expect the requirement to run a lot lower. And do you think that is realistic in 2024?
Well, that's how the game is. If you don't like it, then don't play the game, bro. Like,
Yeah, exactly. But then if they came out and said, we will have an inconsistent frame before they start selling it and no one buys it, it's okay, right? But then, what if they optimize the first 2 hours into the game because they know the Steam policy, and then...
well, they didn't, 'cause people were refunding.
Well, what if... Well, I'm just saying, what if they did that because they prioritize, I don't know, their own perspective. Oh, we were crunch time, and then they do this and that. Like, I used to care about it, but I don't anymore.
No, I don't anymore, no.
I fucking hate it when they say, oh, all this crunch time forced us into this and that after they release the game. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I want the games to work. And if it doesn't, be transparent about it. We're not gonna give you shit for saying that we're gonna have to, like, delay the game because it's unrealistic to release this game as a triple A game experience in 2024. Because it's clearly it's not up to the standard. Like, it's just not. You know, when people say customers always right, they're not talking about one individual who represent their own personal view. Like, what we're talking about is the average people who has the product and they say very similar things. Maybe there is some validity in what they're saying. It's unrealistic.
I need to come back
I don't
here.
think I can fight that guy, bro. I think I'm gonna get fucked up.
Like, I understand you bought the game, you want to defend the game, you want to become the...
No, I'm not even saying that. Even if I didn't buy the game, like, I've defended other games I didn't even buy, but it's the fact that they were just transparent about it. Whether
Transparent
it's to
about
cover
what?
up-
They would be
whether it's to
totally
cover-
transparent if they said we didn't finish optimizing this game.
No, but listen. So, whether it's to cover up, like I said, whether it's to cover up their little fucking, you know, because they didn't optimize the game or whatever, yeah? I don't know that, right? But they said the best way to play this game at the moment, yeah?
At
is
the
by
moment, because they didn't what?
whichever. No, they didn't say at the moment. They said the best way to play this game, but we're gonna have uncapped frame rate, but we're not guaranteeing you to get steady frames. Yeah. So the best way to play is at 30 frames. Yeah. But they didn't lie, because the best way is to play at that. Whether that changed in the future is another question, right? But right now, before the game came out, they told you 30 frames, and what you're getting is 30 frames.
I had a
No
2.11 KB.
Does it make it okay?
No, whether they didn't optimize the game or not, beyond my knowledge, I don't give a shit about that or not, because I don't give a shit about their little how they fix the game up. I don't care if they lied or not. They didn't technically lie. There's no lie there. They're not like Cyberpunk where they're telling you you're gonna get 60 and then you get nothing, or you can't even play the game on your hardware.
Like, does it make sense to you that you went to the really nice restaurant in a 5-star hotel, and then you have to get up like it's a buffet line? You have to get your own food. Like, does that make sense to you?
Did you want me to stop?
Because they don't. Because they say they had a sign somewhere saying that you have to get your own food. They didn't lie to you. But then it does conflict with the expectation of what you understand as a 5-star, don't you?
I mean, all 5-star has to be like that. Like, they don't all have to be that way.
Yeah. But then what if they made it more transparent before anybody go into and just say it? Make them say it because it's so different than other. Whatever that they're trying to sell. The room or whatever. Like the hotel experience.
I understand they could do that, yeah? I'm not saying that, but technically, when you look at the outline of it, yeah?
Let's say your cook, your chef quit that day and you couldn't find a replacement.
No, I get exactly what you're saying, yeah? I'm not complaining at that. What I'm saying is, technically, whether it was to cover up, whether it was to cover up, yeah? Their little...
That mean I enjoy arguing. That gets me off.
Like, whether it's to cover up that they did optimize the game or not, right? That's beyond me. I don't give a shit about that, right? I don't give a shit about the development or whatever. They didn't lie. They said 30 frames, and that's what you're getting. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't lie. They gave you the information. Whether it was to cover up someone else, I don't really give a shit about that. But
it's just like that one game that came out, the team-based game. What is it called? Something Fall or whatever. They had to put a sticker on back of their CD case saying that, 60 frames is not available on launch.
They didn't lie.
They didn't lie, but
they didn't optimize the game. I'm not saying they did or not.
Yeah, so why are they charging you the full price as a AAA experience?
Because this is how the game's coming out, bro.
Is it because we let them pass as it is? Maybe you don't think that has anything to do with it?
No. But, if you don't like 30 frames a second,
what is that?
then don't play this game right now. Whether it's $70, yeah, or not, yeah, they're telling you 30 frames a second, right? Yeah.
I really doubt they came out. Like, I really doubt when they were having a commercial about this game, even a fine print say, like, if you expect anything above 30 frames per second, do not buy this game. I don't think they actually said that.
No, they said we had uncapped here, but we're not guaranteeing the frames you'll get, is what they said. We're not guaranteeing some new frame.
And what? Where did they say this?
I can see if I can find it. I don't remember.
Find what was it though?
Like some interview or something that they
Interview, exactly. Why can't they do it on their commercial or their store page?
요새
because if they do an
많이
interview,
했죠.
then that should be getting to it, like
What? This interview is all the consumers gonna watch this
or not all
interview?
the-
No, but if the people who's buying this game,
Level
they
33
have to
now.
go to store and they'll say it and everybody's gonna know, right?
No, but when they go to the Steam page, yeah, or they go to fucking buy it on the Xbox or PlayStation, yeah, it says 30 frames a second, exactly what they're telling you. Like, if they fix it and they can get more, then they'll change it. But they're not lying. It's not like they're saying 60 and then you're not even getting 60.
But what? But did they say that from day one?
Yes, this is my fucking point. Yes, that's why I'm saying they're technically not lying to you.
No, but then
You might not be
okay.
optimized.
Okay, so let's say you can run this game at with a 2080 in 2K with a 30 frames per second. Let's say you have 4090. You expect what?
What do you mean a 4090? I'm not saying you don't expect 60 frames, yeah? But if that's all you're gonna get, right? They're being transparent and they're telling you 60 frames. If you don't want that, then don't buy the game. Wait for the game.
Wait for the game to what? To finish?
If they know,
Can't believe
and they do patch that,
this has been going on for
No,
over an
no.
hour.
Wait for what though? Wait to the game for it to fully release?
No, if they fix it, yeah?
Okay, let me ask you. Do you think optimization of a game is a part of game development? Yes or no?
I'm not saying that, yeah?
Ah.
But what they said out of their mouths, yeah? So they don't know they can go above 30 or get consistently 60, right? For any hardware because it's engine they use. So, yeah?
Oh,
They
what?
give you guarantee that 30 is steady, yeah? And it's steady 30 frames.
I have
right?
just earned
So they're not lying, right?
332 euron in
But they're
taxes
saying they're gonna
returned.
try and see if they can
Are
get
you
60,
jealous?
like a steady
Earned.
60.
No. I saw an example. It had a hard 1% drop. It stuttered on 4090.
No, we're not saying it didn't stutter, yeah? But they're not
And
lying.
yes, you expect that from like open world type of game, but not like that. That much different drop?
No, but what they're not, what most people are trying to get is above 30 frames. They're not locking it at 30 frames. If you lock it at 30 frames, you get steady 30 frames. So that's the fucking point.
So we're going in circles again. So let me ask you, if they realize the game works just fine at 30 frames per second and have problem anything above that, why did they give the player option to increase and unlock them?
I don't know. I can't answer that one. That's just on them, I guess. But like I said, they don't think that's that bad. Like, but they're trying to get it to work more. They're saying they
Well, no shit, they're trying to do it. I understand. They have a deadline to keep up, and they have the investors
I don't give a shit
to
about
make
any of
that
this.
happy. But like, I don't care.
No, I don't care about that either. But what I'm mentioning is, yeah.
Because I'll tell you why. I told you before. If I said my boss Dickman didn't pay me this week, I was gonna buy your game. Will they give you the free game for that week until you get paid?
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that they didn't lie. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about nothing else. I'm saying, did they tell you that it's 60 frames and then it's
But
not
what if I
60?
said they hire a person, okay, who says the right things so that it's justifiable for not lying, and that they pay this person so they
I'm
know
not
what
saying that.
to say?
I don't care about any of that. Whether the game's not optimized, why they're saying that or not, yeah. At the moment, at this specific time, yeah. Whenever it is, April the 5th, yeah. Whenever the game came out, March the 21st, yeah. Like 2 weeks before, I saw something where it was saying 30 frames a second, yeah. You could easily, at that time, cancel your pre-order. So if you don't like 30 frames, then people had enough time to do that. But they still went ahead and bought the game. And that's on them.
No. It's not a consistent 30 frames, okay? There's some part in the game where it's game breaking. It goes lower, inconsistent frame. You're saying that it only causes because you didn't put the frame lock at 30, okay? But then the game allows you to do it in the option without modding the game.
If you go to uncapped frame, yeah, you can get below 30 frames, right? Yeah. But if you lock it at 30 frames, yeah, like you should be fucking doing, you're getting put if you want 30 frames. Because you're not trying to get above 30 frames, are you? No.
So what? You think that video card saves the energy for these scenes to be put on the screen?
No, I don't
like
actually know
they
that.
accumulate the power so that when the scene comes where it's more taxing, they can release more power they've been saving. Is that
No, I
is
don't
that what
know
you're
what it
implying?
is. I don't know how it works, yeah. But when
A 4.8 KD.
on some of the reviews, yeah, when it's uncapped, right, yeah, in some Cs they were getting like 28 frames, yeah. But when they locked it to 30 frames, they were getting consistent all
I
the
got a
time.
4.8 KD.
I don't know why it works that way, but it works that way.
Oh,
But is
Ow.
that what you expect with the 4090?
No, I'm not saying that, but they didn't lie to you. So if you don't want to buy the game right now because it's not what you expect, then don't buy it.
Oh.
They're not lying to you and giving you specs, so you believe that it's
No,
something
the
else.
lie was already made when they said the game was finished when it wasn't.
No, because they could have made the game for 30 frames. That could have been what their engine does, but they wanted to try and get more. To please more
What do you mean? Are you saying that there is a limitation with this engine can go above
That's
30?
No, that's what they're saying. That when it goes above 30, right,
Uh-huh.
it fucks with the engine. That's what's causing problems with the game.
okay.
So,
This
they're
auto
trying to,
rifle.
like,
Right.
Why is that? Is it because that's the nature of this engine they decide to use for 2024 release?
I think so, yes. So that's on them. I'm not saying that's not on them, right?
And you
I think
believe
engine
this?
Well, I can actually see that. Just like the Fallout engine. That engine's fucking crap. It's good, but it's not good, if that makes sense. So, I could actually see that. So that they could actually have used some shitty whatever engine they're using. And then that's it, like.
This doesn't make any sense.
The only thing I'm trying to get at is that they
So
said...
you know nothing
before
about
game
the
came out-
engine,
Ow. What's that?
but then this is what they say, so it must be?
No, all they said, right, yeah?
Mhm.
Before the game came out, they said 30 frames, yeah? And now the game's out,
Oh.
they're saying 30 frames.
No, they say 30 frames with a 2080 in 2K.
Yes, they did say
So
that, yes.
so what if you get 4090? What happens?
You still get 30 frames, bro.
So what happens if you have a
Ow.
4090 hardware with the options the software gives you with the unlock frame? What happens? What is the expectation?
It's gonna go below. Because it's...
Why is it that's your expectation?
Because... No, it's gonna go down, yeah? Because they say there's problems with the engine. Whether I don't know that or not, because I don't
So
work
why
with it.
did they give the player option to unlock them?
I don't have any grenades.
Why?
I don't know.
If it's an engine limitation.
Super Pilsoon Alpusion.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't. What do you mean you don't know? Because it's a fucking PR, bro.
I'm
Yeah.
not talking about the PR. I don't give a
I
shit
know.
about the PR. I already said this.
No,
I'm
you're
just talking
buying
about
into the PR narrative. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
At
No, I'm
Javier
just saying what
SCZ,
they
yes,
said.
you're
They
right.
said The best to play
Yeah.
is 30 frames per second.
And then you
Doesn't work,
believe
right? It doesn't
this.
work.
That's
Because
what
it's
I'm trying to tell
fucking
you.
Because you're seeing it.
Their
When you
intention
watch
is
videos,
pretty
Bro.
fucking
and
clear,
I'm playing
okay?
the fucking game, and I'm seeing it.
Listen,
I'm seeing
their
other people.
intention is pretty fucking clear. Just like this game that I'm playing, okay? They had a working store. Yes, they said in the beginning we're not gonna push anything. They'll help directly with the players, and then they changed that. But
He is angry right now.
they had a store working, but the game wasn't working. It's a problem.
He can unleash his wrath, be careful.
But this game is technically working if you put it at 30 frames. There's nothing wrong with this game.
There is something wrong with. You just saw it. I just showed you the video.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that if
Empty.
if you unlock the frames,
Empty
yeah, there's
too.
problems, yeah.
Oh,
We're not
no.
talking about that. If you lock it at 30 frames, it's fine.
I have
That's on
ammo.
them, like,
I know there is always a workaround,
Oh.
right? Like it's like the same argument. Hey, like if you just go to this website and download this mod and you follow all these instructions, the game should work fine. With a AAA experience, that's what you gotta do.
no, what I'm saying, person, yeah. I'm playing it on the Xbox, yeah.
Mhm.
And if you play on PC, just put it at 30 frames, yeah. And
Yes,
the game works.
you'll work now, right? It's gonna work now.
Go,
It's
go, go.
it's the same thing with the
Yes,
with
I
the,
think too, you're right, I know, feel.
it's like Cyberpunk, right? Like if you just use the DLSS, you should be fine. But then they're like, hey, you can use a 1060 to run this game.
No, they clearly lied.
Ha ha ha.
They clearly lied.
Okay,
Two.
well, they're doing the same fucking thing, except they probably got the better PR guy, and you bought into their narrative, is what I'm
I didn't
saying.
get I didn't get better PR guy. They've even said this. They said this was a problem with the first game too. That's why they don't go above 60.
What do you mean? So how did they make it unlock frame 1 version and they re-released
Oh,
it?
okay.
What do you mean they re-released?
They released it with the unlocked frame.
I think talking
first
about
game-
Anther
Wait for
games.
Does it ever unlock frame? I don't think so.
Yes, they showed that on their trailer, dude. Unlocked frames, 4K support.
Because they maybe fixed it or whatever. I don't know by then.
Yeah, so why did they fix this game before they released it?
Or maybe they use a different engine or something. I don't fucking know.
Exactly. So, did the gamer decide what engine they should use for the second game?
No, we're not saying they did, right? Just like the Fallout engine, they can make a new engine, right? Okay. But
What?
it just doesn't work very well.
What?
Yeah, is it
Yeah,
our
you
fault as a consumer?
I'm not saying it is.
Well, then why do we have to suffer for the same fucking price we pay for other games that just works fine?
Because we're not suffering if you just put it at 30 frames and you're good.
What do you mean? You
Yeah.
bought 4090 so you can have a better game experience, but you can't do that with this game?
Next one, I'll be
Let's say you bought a new computer, right?
Heroic 2.
And then because you've been waiting for this game, and it finally comes out, and it's like
What?
30 frames, and then you see other
I don't
people
get why it's not.
playing on the console and they have better
Wow.
experience than your new hardware.
How are we having better experience? We got 30 frames. We not got 60.
Dude,
I need to complete this.
it's a
got 30
PC.
Oh my
It's
God,
a
I'm
PC
dying here.
problem. You know what I mean? It's a PC.
Then it's done.
What do you mean it's a PC problem? On console, yeah? We're getting 30 frames.
I understand.
You
Because
ready?
you don't have the
What is that
option to change like PC,
Did you
right?
move?
And the options were given by who?
Have
Developers,
you
yeah.
moved your
Yeah.
character?
And then utilizing those options, the game is broken. Meaning what?
I got a rotten streak.
Meaning what? And before the game came out, who knew about this problem?
It's too
Can't
far.
pay method to kill. That's the solution.
Do you think there are more people who knew about how this game was gonna run from consumer side point or from the development
Two left.
point?
I already explained, person. Whether they optimized, whether it was to cover
Tell
up
me
their
when you're ready, babe.
the game optimized or not yet. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is did they lie or not, and they didn't lie. They said 30 frames. and
They
we
didn't
did.
technically lie, no.
No, that's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all I've been saying.
What
They
do
told
I
you
do?
30 frames. If you don't like 30 frames,
They didn't
and you was-
technically lie about what they said about marketing, but they did lie about this being a AAA game.
Well, whatever that is, I don't care about that.
What do you
If
mean you don't
like-
care about
if you
that?
don't- If you don't like 30 frames, yeah, then don't buy the game. That's it. They tell you right there.
Whoa.
30
Well, here's the thing. If they came out and say,
Why
came
is
out and
it
say,
not?
hey, if you don't like 30 frames
Throwing
per
the
second
grenade.
because you're gonna have a problem on your PC, no matter what you do until we fix the problem, then don't buy this game. But they didn't say that on their store page, dude.
Wow, wow.
No, but they're telling you 30 frames. So you should
That didn't
expect
do
30
anything.
frames for it.
No,
I'm
what
right.
they're saying is if you have this kind of hardware,
Why
that
didn't you
is
just
the
don't kill
expectation
me?
of the frames,
Ow.
average frame that you're gonna get. But little the consumers know, some parts of the game, it's like a single digit frame at some point
Yeah, but that's
because it's
people are using-
inconsistent.
Okay, that's because people are using uncapped because they want to get more of it. But if you just lock it to 30 frames, yeah, which the game gives you the option to do that. Because you're not expecting more, because you see the 30 frames number, then you're good.
It's an inconsistent frame problem, and that comes directly from not optimizing their game.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't, yeah.
Because
All I'm-
in other part of the, in certain areas it works fine. It looks like it's working fine. But if you go to big cities, it's just tanks, and rightfully so because
Are
they
you
got more
liking
stuff
that I'm
going on.
PvPing with
But
you?
not like this, right? Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, it's only when you're on uncapped. If you lock it at 30 frames, it works
Oh
fine.
my god.
I know there's always a workaround.
Well, we're
right?
not even talking about a workaround, like you have to download some mod or something. Because I guess you can download mods to get it to 60 or whatever, like. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about, like, if you just play the game, and you just go to this menu, and the menu says 30 frames locked, yeah? Then you lock it, and that's it. It's in the game.
So why was the game released with the locked 30 frames per second?
No.
That's how it works at the moment. I'm not sure. I'm not saying they might not fix that and they'll change the settings, right? Yeah, but they're not lying to you. Like,
What do you
in the
mean?
future-
They will absolutely fix it because they need to sell the game, and it's a huge problem for PC community for not liking this game because of performance issues, dude.
If they fix it, yeah, and they
I
change
knew
the
that
settings,
map very
and
well.
they change the set, the recommendation or whatever, yeah. Then they'll change that, right? Yeah. To say 60, yeah. At the moment, all you can get is 30, so they're not lying. They're saying that's all you can get now. Like, that's it. Like, take it or leave it. And then in the future, if they fix it, then you might get 60, and then they'll update that to 60.
Yeah, but then is that what you expect from $17 purchase?
I'm not saying that I did, yeah. But what I'm saying is that they didn't lie though. I expected 30 and I got 30. They even say on console they might update it in the future maybe if they can fix it. Yeah,
Yes, all
you
the
get
time.
60, right? But right now they told me before the game came out, they told me.
But
30
why are you overlooking and then just going into details about how they marketed this game? But why not the price itself and what you expect as a consumer if you're paying the AAA price?
Because unlike say Cyberpunk, yeah, or unlike a lot of companies, they don't ever give you the exact frames you're gonna get. They beat around the bush, so you buy the game thinking, okay, the frames are gonna be good, and then you get some shitty. They actually told you the fucking frame. That's why I'm okay with them, because I'm like, they told you the frame.
No. They didn't have a list of all the video cards, right? They're like 1060 this frame, 2060 this frame, 3060 this frame, 4090 this frame. They didn't say that.
Because at the moment, consistently on every system here, you look at the
So
30,
let me ask you.
get 30
So what do you expect from Xbox Series X from Series S?
better video quality.
Better performance.
We get
right?
4K. We get 4K.
Hours.
Then we get
No,
10K.
like in general, like you just expect better performance because it has what?
Yeah, and what we're getting is we get on here, yeah, compared to the Xbox, yeah. The Xbox Series S gets no ray tracing, gets 1080p. The graphics they say look worse on.
But what if I told you if you just put everything at 30 frames per second because this game is locked at 30 frames per second and there's no difference between X and S?
No, but there is because you don't get ray tracing.
No, what if that was the case? No matter what you do, like you can set the quality of the video or low to get more frames and it doesn't really change anything no matter what you do. What do you say?
Well, then that would be no, but I reckon you put this on low, you would get better frames. But they're saying consistently you're going to get 30 frames a second. So, they ain't lying to you, bro.
It's not a consistent.
It's not if you don't put it on locked 30, if you got it on unlocked.
But it's not.
Frame rate.
They gave you as an option, dude. With the assumption that you can unlock.
I'm not saying they didn't.
Yeah,
Saying something?
but it doesn't work unlocked. The game is broken unlocked
Yeah,
as an
I
option.
know this.
One of the option is broken.
No, I understand this. I'm not saying that,
Look
yeah?
this up.
But that's to get more than 30 frames, yeah? Because you're getting unlocked, yes? So if you put it at 30 frames, expecting just 30 frames, and you're good. What they give you, the option, they tell you 30 frames. So you get 30 frames.
So even though if you have a hardware that can run lots of games at 60,
I'm not saying that you can't run lots of games at 60. That's not my point. My point is, they're telling you right now, yeah? If you
so
buy this
where
game-
does all the extra, let's say, horsepower go?
Okay. They're telling you right now, yeah, when you pay money for the game, yeah, you pay the
Let's say you got a
$69.
Ferrari, right? And I just got a Honda, right? And they say it's locked at 70 miles per hour.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're not understanding.
But technically they didn't lie to you because until they fixed the engine, you're gonna be locked at 30 frames, and you can get to places just fine. And we're gonna charge you the full price for the Ferrari.
No, dude. It's like they said you get 30 frames, yeah. Later on, if they change it, yeah, they make it so you can get 60, like lock 60 or whatever, right? Yeah, they fix that. Then they'll add 60, right? Yeah. But as of right now, all you can get consistently working good, yeah, is 30, yeah.
And that is the standard you're okay with 2024 AAA games. When
they're telling you the truth.
yeah,
they're not lying
as long as they don't lie, they can just put out a half-ass finished game and then fix it later. Is that the?
You don't have to buy the game. If you don't like 60, or I mean 30, then you don't have to buy the game. They told you, so you could go and refund the game. Day one, they told you 30 frames a second. So before you even open the game, yeah, they're telling you 30 frames.
No, they never said it's locked at 30 frames. Otherwise, they would have locked the game at 30 frames, right?
No, but they're saying that's the consistency you should be getting. If they said lower, like they said 25 frames, that's the consistency you should be getting.
They never said that even on the Steam page. I'm looking at it. Let me look at it again,
No,
okay?
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying they said consistently, yeah. But what they're saying is, whenever I see, say, when I don't see many companies, but when the companies do it, yeah. When I see 30 or I see, sometimes I've even seen 55 frames. Yeah?
Let me find out if they have updated their store page.
No, they haven't updated their store page. I know that much damn fact.
Okay, Dragon's Dogma 2 PC locked 30 FPS. Let's see how it performs.
Practically here, and the debate about 30 FPS is alive and well. Next-gen console owners are once again being told that their console just isn't strong enough for 60 FPS games, despite the overwhelming majority of games launching this generation having 60 FPS modes, all while PC users are reporting serious CPU bottlenecking in Dragon's Dogma 2, and very strong PCs are seemingly required to get consistent performance out of this game, and even those computers are having some dips, and they need a game that can't deliver a 60 FPS experience or a 60 FPS option. So the question is, does 30 FPS as a game, do 30 FPS games have a future in the gaming world? And why is 30 FPS a problem for other games when they get reviewed and it's considered a problem and it's criticized, but it seemingly is not hurting the review scores of Dragon's Dogma. Game is good, 30 FPS is tolerable. Well, Dragon's Dogma 2 is running at an uncapped 30 FPS on the PS5 and the Series X, which is probably the weirdest thing I have seen in a while, uncapped 30 frames per second. Even John Linneman from Digital Foundry, he expressed worry about this whenever the first initial previews were. So this is because
I was going to ask you, Fusion, is that working better?
Uncapped.
Which one?
Is
after changing?
choice, so that's another aspect of why you
it's a little bit, yeah. I get 150 frames per second.
Okay, that's good.
So first, I want to walk through. Then it might actually hurt the game's user score. It would not be the first time that the users disagree with the review outlets because of performance issues. Jedi Survivor, if anybody remembers that game still is terrible on Steam, and the developers should be embarrassed with the fact that they basically abandoned claiming that the game was running at an uncapped.
I wonder if he's gonna talk about the DLSS,
and that was the only outlet reporting it. Nobody
becoming like a standard thing, and then like developers use that to get
it's running
like kind of be lazy with optimization because it kind of does it for him. Like
there were even videos here. You're going to struggle to hit 60 FPS.
I feel like this game doesn't look
that means the game
great.
Is poorly optimized and they're throwing too much at the CPU.
I don't think Dragon's Dogma, like, to be utilizing that much power of a hardware, like...
They said Dragon's Dogma 2 suffers a start reading the scores that are in the
What game are you arguing about?
Themes cropping up, saying that the game feels outdated, like it feels too similar to the original.
What game?
And it's somewhat evenly split between the high praise and the more nuanced reviews. There were, when I checked, there were 24 reviews
that were at a 90 or higher on Metacritic. There were 23 reviews that were in the 80s and down. So if you kind of separate those two groups, and my
I don't have any mods for this?
Oh,
yeah.
roaring praise, the 80s and down were more nuanced. A lot of the reviews in the 80s and down mentioned technical issues, clunkiness, or the game feeling outdated. While the reviews in the 90s and up, they just sort of see this game as
But you don't
must
have
play.
PC.
And I'm going to be honest with you, this seems to mirror the debate about 30 FPS. There's the side that just doesn't care. They have probably played more next-gen games on quality mode. A lot of people just boot up games.
This game was clearly not intended to play at 30 frames if the game comes with an unlocked frame option.
Game, they're going to be more likely to describe the game as clunky, as having technical issues. Oh, it feels outdated. Well, yeah, 30 FPS certainly does.
So do you actually believe the game how it looks compared to some of the more
on next-gen consoles where the vast majority of games are hitting
better-looking games? Do you think?
Decide which type of player you are, because it sounds like a fantastic game. It looks like a fantastic game, right? But if you're like,
that's not my fucking problem, dude.
Probably not going to be able to do it. You're just not going to be able to push through and deal with the issues and deal with the problem, or I'm sorry, the performance issues. Now, I have to agree with Donnie on Twitter from Pure Dead Gaming. He said that handing a game a 10 out of 10. I said the same thing when Jedi Survivor got roaring scores. It got like 10s out of 10s, 9s out of 10s, and it had glaring performance issues. To give a game that has performance issues a perfect score, I feel that is a misrepresentation of the product. I consider that to be dishonest.
I mean, I feel the same way about this guy, and it's just one guy, right? It happens to align with my perspective. But holy shit.
That will hinder the 10 scores. They're going to be blindsided when they play a game that just doesn't run that well. Now, I know for a fact that happened with Jedi Survivor. Many people bought it on the roaring praise of...
It's not a consistent frames on PC, dude.
Like, oh, this is one of the greatest games ever. And then it had tons of issues.
But they gave you an option.
Tricked. That leads me
Why are we going in circles?
All of this, okay?
They literally said,
first, I want to speak to where games are headed, all right? The last 4 years have made it very clear that games are not regressing at all. I've refused to accept this false notion, okay?
And that's not even the case. Maybe, okay, I bet you anything, right?
And a PS5
right? If you lock it at 30 frames on PC with a good hardware, if it goes into some of these big cities, it will still dip.
Has no basis. I believe it is commonly a narrative driven by people who are trying to
You're telling me people are so stubborn that they want higher frames, they will not play this game with a consistent 30 frames per second.
They'll ignore the monsoon of 60 FPS.
That's ridiculous, dude. No, dude.
Someone on Twitter
no, I bet you if the game is good enough and the game works fine at 30 frames per second, and that's all there was to it, people will just play it till better, like a patch comes out.
At 60 FPS. Now, does that sound like a trend? Less than 0.1% versus 99.9% of games? It's not a trend at all. This is completely fabricated. It's made up. If your favorite developer or platform delivered a 30 FPS game, you don't have to.
Were you watching the video that I was watching?
You don't have to pretend like it's a
They did a testing with the lowest quality setting possible in 4K.
It's undeniably clear.
And then it had
no problem.
The 1% dipped so hard. The fucking screen froze, bro.
Reason to think that games will regress. Beyond that, player expectations have changed.
So
Fortnite
what?
Has been 60 FPS for a long time, and they even got
they were getting 90 frames,
60 FPS
right, consistently, and then they go to this one spot, and then the game locks out.
FPS. The latest Call of Duty games are 60 with the 120 FPS modes as an option. Do you actually think the number of people that play Fortnite, GTA 5, and Call of Duty, do you think that massive number of players are going to accept 30 FPS games in the future? I certainly don't. Now, there is talk that GTA 6 will be 30 FPS,
no, man.
even on the PS5
no,
Pro.
There's no way
I think
you're okay with this in 2024 when you barely got a new monitor. Like, there's no reason for them to choose an engine that's complicated to them, to not to keep the standards of fucking game. The game doesn't even look that graphically impressive. Like,
Whether the engine worked or not,
I would find it to be very strange that
How?
Rockstar spent a bunch of time
if they said 30 frames and you're getting
updating
30
GTA 5
frames, then
to
you're fine.
60 FPS, only
they
to have
did
people
lie
buy
when
their
they said this is a
console and
AAA
then
game.
lose that performance. I will concede though,
They never said it was AAA
GTA
game.
6
They're
is just
charging
so
you a
big
AAA
that
price,
people
bro.
would overlook
They
it.
charge
Now,
you a
I
AAA
won't.
price
I'm
doesn't
not
mean
gonna
it's AAA
overlook
game.
30
It
FPS
is.
anymore.
That's the
We're
expectation,
well
don't you?
beyond that this should be even accepted.
not always.
So even
So
if GTA
when they
6
sell
is
you a
30
car
FPS,
called Ferrari,
given the
what do you
statistics
expect?
currently of how many more 60 FPS
Well,
games there
that,
are?
yes, but then
It
there's
has
some
to be
cars
said.
that are from other companies
Outliers
that are really
don't set
expensive,
trends.
but you don't expect
You
them to
cannot
as much
claim a
often.
trend
Hmm.
of 30
Guys,
But,
FPS.
but
is
what do you
happening
expect
when
though?
all of
When
your
the prices are-
examples will be
Well, I
outliers.
expect from this
They
game.
won't be in the
I don't
majority.
expect as
So the point
good
that
as
I'm
a
really
normal
trying to
game.
make
This
is
is
If
like
what I
you've been
put on the
gamer for
thumbnail.
all these years,
30
right, and then you see the
games,
price, and
they
then
have
you know the
no
term like
future.
AAA,
Now that doesn't mean that 30 FPS
right?
games can't
What
be
do you expect
commercially
from that game?
successful.
The
Dragon's
game to be
Dogma
locked at
will
30 frames
likely
per
do
second?
very well,
When
and
they're telling
GTA
you
6
this,
isn't
then
really
yeah.
going to be slowed down
When
by
when
anything.
when
Like,
it was
I
last year
There
that you
is
got
a
a
future
144
where 30
hertz
FPS games
display
are the norm.
or
They
120
certainly
whatever,
already are being, I think, seeing less and less acceptance.
and then you're
Gotham
telling me
Knights
that's the
tried to
limitation of
hide fact
the
that their game was 30 FPS.
the
They tried
engine,
to hide it from the public.
and
every
then
time
maybe
somebody out
like a couple
in
years
their
later, a
Discord
few
for
months
asking
later
if
or
the game had
whatever,
60 FPS
there is a better
as a mode.
version
Now,
of that game
means
because
they
there's a
were on
patch
standing
conveniently.
orders to keep that
Then you buy
quiet.
the game
Somebody
when that is,
instantly
and that's it.
responded to the question
they're not lying
and
to you
timed
saying
the
it's 60
person
right now,
out.
and you're not even
That
getting
means
60.
they were instructed to keep it
Like,
from
they're
the
telling you
public.
30,
They didn't
that's
want
what
the
you're gonna
public to know.
consistently get.
Redfall
You're
not being at
welcome.
30 at 60 FPS.
They were
They
selling it like it was a finished game, but it
apologized
was
for
not
the
finished
fact that
yet.
it launched
Because
without a 60
optimization
FPS mode.
is a
Infamous
part of the
sticker
development.
that had to be put
And a lot of the
on
modern
game.
developers use a DLSS because it's becoming like a standard when it comes to getting a video card that has that feature. They do it even less because they expect the DLSS to take some load off of them, dude. Like that's where we're at.
Then why not make it front and center in the marketing? Right? We went from consoles promising a standard output of 60 FPS and up to 120 FPS to devs trying
No,
to
that's not what I'm saying. What you're saying doesn't make any sense because
if 30 FPS
it's not a
is
consistent
fine,
frame.
why not be upfront
It
about it?
locks out.
You include it in
The
marketing.
1% load
Why you
difference is
wait
way
till the
too
last
much
possible moment
because
to
it
tell
has a
people?
bottleneck
We
on
all know
CPU.
why. Because it
If
isn't
you unlock it,
acceptable,
if
and
you
it
lock
doesn't
it to
have a
30 frames,
future
it doesn't
in the
have
gaming
that.
space. We're dealing with
That's
old
the fucking
engines
problem.
or
People don't-
creative
people
decisions
don't
or
want that.
poorly
They think that they
optimized
Why
can
games. I was
why
fairly
did the
critical of Final
developers
Fantasy
create a
16 for
problem
this
where they
very
could
reason.
solve not
We were
giving
told
any option
that it was
beyond
gonna
30
show off
frames
the
per
power of the
second?
PS5,
If that's the
and
only
it looks
fucking
like
problem.
garbage when you're not in
What they're
combat
saying
because it's a
is they wanna
stuttering
give you the
mess. It
option,
doesn't
so if
even
they
keep
can-
Options to what? To break the game?
30s and 40s,
No, if the
not
option-
even
if
staying
their
close to
hardware allows
60.
it, you
And
might
then
be able to
when
get
you're in
more, but they're
combat,
not
it's a lock
guaranteeing that,
60.
what they said.
That's a creative decision that the developers made. If your game launches and is capped at 30 FPS and requires a top-of-the-line
So
the
it's
Horizon
so,
Forbidden
like,
West
obvious.
port, and about how great it was to
Whether
have a
they
game that
optimize
could
it or not,
run
I've got
well
nothing to do
on
with that. I'm not the
low-end
company.
hardware. He was
I'm
testing the
just
game out
listening
on
to what they
lower-end
said. They
hardware
said
and
30
was
frames,
thrilled with
and
the
then
results.
Do you
Why? Because
expect a
it's
broken
well-optimized game.
any
That's something that
product
was worked
besides
on.
video games?
Creative
When you buy a
vision,
car, do you
great
expect
gameplay, and
the
good
car to be
systems? Well,
not
they're deserving
performing
of
like it
praise,
should?
Right?
Nothing
There's,
to do
it
with
sounds
what
like
we're
there's
talking about,
amazing
What I'm
things
talking about
and
is
good
did the company
experiences
tell
to be
me
had
30
in
frames and I
Dragon's
get
Dogma
30 frames?
2.
Yes.
But who
If you lock it
cares
to 30
if you
frames on
deliver
CC,
it in a
you get 30
poorly
frames.
optimized
When they
package?
sell you a broken
I would've
car,
been
do you
able
expect to
enjoy
pay the
Elden
full
Ring at
price?
30 FPS, and it was a masterpiece.
don't
And
understand
those who will
what I'm
say,
saying.
we'll just buy a PC FPS at launch.
Are you
So it's
watching
clear that
something?
developers
There is
know
some audio playing
30
along with
FPS
Yeah,
is not
we're-
a smart play. It's something that they either
We had
try
this
to
debate
rectify.
about 30 frames per second being a standard of 2024.
Not a debate,
Gaming.
bro. I just was saying, did they lie to you or not? That's it. And no, they didn't lie to you about that.
They lied to you, dude. Well, not to you because you bought the console version.
No, even on PC they didn't lie if you lock it to 30 frames.
What do you mean?
People
If
don't
you
want 30
lock it to,
People
it's the
are
same argument
people
as
don't
you.
know- no,
If you
no,
go
it's
download
because-
this mod, if you go, if you
no,
change this file,
Because-
like
The reason people don't like it is because I can understand why. It's because they're using a 4090, yeah,
Safe
and
and
getting
sound.
30 frames, yeah, I agree that they should.
They isolated the problem. They isolated the problem. They said it bottlenecks at CPU, meaning they didn't optimize it.
No, I understand whatever that is, yeah. But what we're saying is, they said 30 frames, yeah? I understand if you've got 4090, you're expecting more, right? Than 30 frames. You're expecting like maybe 100, 120, right? I agree with that. But then they're not lying to you because you can't get that right now. At this precise moment, you cannot get more than 30 frames. So they're telling you 30 frames and that's it. So if you don't like 30 frames, then do not buy this game right now.
You're talking about Dragon's Dogma 2 with a PC performance problem. And he justified their marketing saying that they didn't technically say it will work okay above 30 frames per second, and we're in 2024.
No, I'm not saying I justify.
And this game is $69.99 MSRP.
No, what I'm saying is that they didn't lie to you. If you don't like 30 frames, then do not buy this game right now.
But did they say that on the Steam page?
Yes. No, not on the Steam page, but they're telling you right there. They're telling you they're giving you two options, and they're the two options you should listen to. And they're usually the right ones. When they say 30 frames, that's normally the minimum you'll get. And if you get less than that, that's because you change some settings in the game. They might have given you that option, but then not all options are suitable for every PC. And as right now, that option of, you know, whatever it's called, like unlocked frame rate is not suitable right now.
So why did they give us an option? We're going in circles.
Just because, like I keep telling you, they said just in case you might be able to get more. I've been saying the same thing for hours, Pilson.
But it's been clear that they didn't optimize the game.
Excuse me, may you do us a favor and show us your
I don't
bobonas?
give a shit about that. That ain't my problem.
What do you mean?
My problem is if they tell me I get 30 frames, yeah, and I'm not talking about Xbox, because you expect that on Xbox, right? When they tell you 30 frames, you get 30 frames, right? But on PC, they're telling you 30 frames, yeah, and if you lock it to 30 frames, you get 30 frames. That's it.
But how does that explain, right? It doesn't matter what kind of video's quality setting preset you change into low or high. It doesn't matter if you go to this certain spot, you're gonna dip in frames per second to a point where it becomes kind of unplayable.
What I'm saying, right, is that when you lock it to 30 frames, yeah, when you go to that area, it doesn't crash or anything. Yeah?
Okay, it's not like the people who bought this game went to the file and then unlocked it themselves.
No. It gave you. No, I understand they give you the option, right? But what I'm saying is that the people are complaining, and I do agree with them complaining. I'm not disagreeing with them. That they got a 4090, yeah, and they should be getting like 120 frames. I agree with this, yeah. All I'm saying is, as of right now, they're telling you no matter what hardware you have, yeah, you get 30 frames. That's it. Whether they've got the unlock option or not, that's got nothing to do with anything. They're telling you get 30 frames.
And do you think that justifies the hardware that people bought and how the game looks?
That's why people are refunding it. Because of that, yes. But then they're still telling you you're going to get 30 frames. So they're not lying to you. If you're okay with 30 frames, no matter what hardware you're on.
Yeah, and it's not like it's an infinite problem where in 20 years, right, when people have hardware and it happens to work good because they passed in and people have better hardware.
If they patch it, yeah, then they put 60 on their little thing, right, yeah, and they come out and tell people it's 60 now, yeah, then that's it. Then go ahead and buy the game now because now it's 60. But they're not lying to you, right?
They're lying to you because there's an option of putting out your game on PC as early access when the game is not finished.
But they don't want to do that.
Why not?
That's on them.
Because maybe they want to be deceptive to the consumer and say that, hey, the game is finished, but when it's not.
No. But they're not being deceptive. It's the point because they're telling you it's 30 frames. If you don't like 30 frames, then don't play the fucking game like right now. Wait. You don't have to buy the game right now. You can wait. And if they want to release it right now, they can.
And how can you be okay with this?
Because they didn't lie. Or they're telling you 30 frames, right? If they fix it later on and then the game's cheaper and then you get it at a 60, then that's good.
The game's broken, dude. The game's broken.
Whether it is or isn't, yeah? That's beyond me. That's not my problem to fucking deal with. My problem is, did they tell me 30 frames or did they not? That's it. And on PC and on console.
I mean, did you run it on PC?
No, but I've seen people play it, and they showed me uncapped and capped.
I just watched the video. It locked the frame like on 4090 on low. Yeah, it is a 4K resolution, but everything's low, and the game.
If you play 1080p and you put it on locked 30, right? They have no problem. They said the game works fine.
I know there's a workaround. There's always a workaround for PC gaming, right?
No, we're not talking about workaround. We're just talking about it's in the game.
Yeah. Also, the 4K option is in the game, right?
Yeah.
With the assumption of what?
No, but if you follow two options that they have on Steam, yeah? The 1080p option and the 4K option, yeah? If you follow them options, yeah, that they give you, then your game will run fine.
But did they say that? You must follow these settings on PC to work it properly.
No, but they're giving you them options. They're giving you, and that's what you should basically be standard. People should know this on Steam.
And it's not like people went into the file and then changed it manually against the in-game option. No.
I'm not saying that.
They use the in-game option and the game is broken.
No, I understand this, but what I'm saying is that basically you understand, right? I understand, and I think every gamer understands. The same as why it peed people off with what's it called, Cyberpunk, right? Is that when you see them settings and recommended on Steam, yeah, that should be what you're getting. That should be the minimum of what you should get. If you can get more, then you're lucky you. But if you can't, then that's it. It shouldn't go below that. It only goes below that if you put it on unlock.
Yes, but the majority of the people are having performance issues.
Yeah, because they want it on unlock because they want to get more.
Hence the average is mixed.
Yes, because they want to get, yeah? They expect when they got a 4090, and I do agree with this, that they should be getting like 60 or over 60, right? Like 120, yeah? But they're not. So they want a fucking refund and they're pissed off. I agree with them. But they didn't technically lie, right? They told you 30 and that's what it works at. It works at 30.
No, lie started when they released this game as a full... This has been going on for years, okay? It's not this is a new problem. A lot of game developers release their game broken and they, with a mentality, we'll fix it later. Whenever that might be. When there is in the same industry, there is an option to put your game as early access form so that you can be more transparent about it.
We're not talking about whether it came out broken or not, yeah? I'm just saying they were transparent enough to tell you what frame rate you're expected to get in this game. Right? Most companies won't tell you that because they don't want you to know that because they want you to buy the game. They're telling you this, so if you refund it, you refund it. Like, if you want to buy it later when it's maybe cheaper and they might have fixed the fucking frame rate or whatever, then you can. Like, they're not lying to you and telling you this. They're not telling you it's 60 right now to get you to buy the game.
Let me ask you, is the optimization part of the development, yes or no?
No, I'm not saying it isn't. What I'm saying is...
Okay, so when they brought this game, did they say this was version 1.0, like it went gold? They finished the game?
No, okay, let's put it this way. They're not telling you this 60 right now, yeah? Get your money, okay? They're telling you it's 30. That's losing a lot of people when they say 30, okay? They're losing a lot of people who are going to play this game. So, they knew that they're going to lose a lot of people saying it's 30 frames a second.
Dude.
But they didn't.
I don't think it, okay, let me show you this real fast, what he's talking about, okay? I'm gonna go to the Steam page, okay? This is the expected, okay, estimated performance, 1080 30 frames per second with frame might drop in graphic intensive scene, NVIDIA GeForce 2080 Ti or AMD, something equivalent in AMD, right? If you have this, you're expecting about this. That's what he's talking about. Like that's the average frame that you're gonna get out of this. But then what he's ignoring is that some parts of the game, it locks out of the frame where the game stops. Like it's a fucking slideshow to a point where it's unplayable. And then he's justifying it because there's an average frames of 30 frames per second.
No, what I'm saying is if you lock it to 30 frames a second, yeah, it doesn't do the dipping. If you've got it on uncapped, then it goes below 30 frames and it dips really badly and you can even get freezing.
So why did I put that in the option?
That's what I don't understand. That's beyond me. I've already said.
So trying to understand it, why they say one thing and the action is different. It brings out their intention, right? It's all PR.
No, but then they didn't lie to you because the option's there, and if you just lock it, then you got the 30 frames.
So
like they said.
when you get all these options in your car and it doesn't, those options do not work, what do you do?
You are not understanding Pilsoon.
Yeah, you are not understanding plus I know.
He's mocking you, dude, because that's what you say all the time. But what am I not understanding? Because I'm not understanding what.
Lie. When they said you will get 30 frames a second, yeah, you get 30 frames a second. If you want to try and get more with whatever it's called, I can't remember what I said now. Like unlocked, then you can try. But they didn't guarantee that.
Right, I mean, okay, so this is an average frame, and they were even transparent about some frame might drop in graphic intensive scenes, but no one expect the frame drop to be the 1% to be a fucking slideshow in a video game in 2024.
Even that doesn't happen if you lock it to 30.
So if you're making an argument, if you take that one frame and then add all these other scenes with 90 plus frames and then average it out to be 30, and then you're making an argument that they didn't lie, there is something wrong with that argument, because some part of the game is not playable because inconsistent frames.
If you have unlocked frame rate, person, yeah, then you get below 30 frames. If you lock it at 30 frames, you do not get below 30 frames, bro.
Okay, this is very easy concept to understand, right? I go to setting and I got all these options. When I turn on invert Y on, I expect that to work. Okay, when I increase the look sensitivity of my X and Y axis, then I expect that to work. If I turn on the vibration on my controller, I expect that to work.
If you put it on unlocked, you're gonna get unlocked. You're gonna get low frame.
Can pay fight.
More stuff to the game for you.
That's my argument. They gave you these options so you can utilize it. But then what you're saying, which I don't think is, you know what I'm talking about, because there's some part in the game it's like unplayable, and you're saying that just because I have to use the right ones to do it when other parts of the game works just fine.
I'm not saying that's the right thing, that should be happening, but then it's
the game's broken. The game came out broken. It works if you're expecting the game and you call it's working because it loaded the game and it gives you a new game option or load the game option. If that's what you're saying about like they finished the game, no, that's not my standards. Okay, I expect the game to be working consistently well.
Holy.
Okay, I don't expect the game to drop into single frames per second in certain areas.
Yeah, if you're on unlocked frame rate, bro.
Like I suspect it's around the average. It's not like a dip, like one of your hardware, like either your video card or your CPU has been bottlenecked.
Yeah, but if you lock it to 30 frames a second, then you're good. And I saw it the first time with my fucking eyes. The streamer was doing it. He showed me the same thing, and he got like 12 frames a second in some place. And then when he locked it, he got 30 frames in that place. I don't know why it does that, but it does that.
Because the game is not optimized, dude.
But whatever, he's still getting.
The game is not finished to compensate you with all the options that they gave you. Does that make sense to you?
Whatever they put that option in the game or not, you're still getting 30 frames if you do that.
If you get a car with a moonroof as an optional thing, if you press the button to open it, it doesn't open. What do you say?
No, it's like
Pilsoon talks the most while playing the game.
My car's sliding, and they say, "Okay, you got to turn it on to the snow option." That's the same thing here. You got to put locked 30 frame if you want good frame rate.
Wait, you're saying that like a 4x4, you gotta put it on snow?
If you're in the snow, right, and you see your car sliding.
That's your argument?
But then it's the same thing in this game. You put it on the cap, 30 frame, and you're good.
So why did they give you option to go off-road if you can go off-road? Why did they market it as off-road? I'm not saying that they did, but if they ever do, it's like an off-road vehicle. And if you can go off-road, what do you say?
But they never said that you to go above 30 frames. They just said they gave you the option just in case you could. So that's not a lie.
That's not what they said on the Steam page. Once again, that's not what they were saying. They were talking about the average frame, but the average is all these numbers combined divided by the time, right? So yes, you can average out to be 30 frames per second, but the game is unplayable in certain areas. Not to mention crash issues on PC. That's what they were talking about. Yeah, do you expect the game to crash? Hard crash? When you pay $70 for a game before tax? Exactly, because a lot of games do that. Does that make it okay though?
Even like perfectly optimized games do that. Like Elden Ring did that. And that's like that's really well optimized.
Even this game does it, I understand, right? That's why this game got what it deserved, right? With a horrible optimization in the beginning. It's gotten a lot better over time with more contents. And they were selling this game as a Fallout game without the Fallout things in the beginning, with no role playing, no NPC. Like, what were they doing? Well, they didn't technically lie, right, about lack of NPC because they never said anything about it. So it's okay, right? But they're selling a game called the Fallout franchise, which is a big part of the game.
And they're selling this game, yeah? And the first game you had at 30 frames a second. You get unlocked, right?
Does it say that? If you unlock the frame, you might get inconsistent frames.
No, I don't think so.
So what are we arguing about? Like,
I've been telling you this for hours, bro. Like, you get 30 frames a second, like, that's it. Like, that's the best way to play the game. Like, that's it.
It's the best play the game right now.
I said that then when it comes to when they fix it or whatever they're gonna do, they will put 60 frames on the little.
So why are they doing that? Ask yourself, why are they doing that?
No, I'm not saying that I justify it or not here. What I'm saying is they're not lying to you, because when you get 30 frames a second, that's what you're getting. If you don't like playing like that, then don't buy the game right now. Wait, they told you that.
But did they say that on the?
They said that since day one. So if you didn't like the game, you could get a refund.
Well, that's a Steam policy, right? And a lot of people buy their game on Steam.
Yeah. So if you don't like it, yeah, and you play 30 frames a second, yeah, and you don't like 30 frames, then you get a refund. Whether the game's fixed or not, that's got nothing to do with you, right?
So they're going out of their way. So if you play more than 2 hours, if you don't like 30 frames per second, they'll give you a refund.
Well, no. But what I'm saying is they told you 30 frames a second, yeah? If you don't like 30 frames a second and you know you're somebody like that's got like, say, you've got like a 49 a year, and you think, okay, I expect to get more than 30 frames, right? I expect this, yeah? And you don't like that, then don't buy this game. Because it's 30 frames. You would expect on one of them options, right, yeah? The minimum or recommended, you would expect them to at least see 60 frames suggested, right? But you can't. So they're not telling you that you can. If you don't like that, then don't buy the game. Like, that's it. That's what I'm telling you. That's what it is.
Oops.
That's why the reviewers were telling you this game's fine if you like 30 frames. If you don't, then don't buy this game right now. Wait. So they're not lying to you in any way. Like, they might be lying to cover up the game's broken or not. That's got nothing to do with what I'm saying.
It's got everything to do with it. That's what motivated them to say what they said.
Whether it did or not, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you don't like 30 frames yet, don't buy the game. If you like 30 frames,
Okay.
buy the game. That's it. They're
Well, no
telling you right
shit.
there on the page.
But then the
They're telling you right
expectation
there on the
is,
page.
hey, if you have a 1060 and running this at 1080, right? You get about average 30 frames per second. But little they know that these people will come into a part of the game where it's broken, or like it gets such a low frames you can't even play the game.
Yeah, but on the stream I was watching here, they said, and they showed me, that if you lock it to 30 frames, that doesn't happen. You got some crashes still, but I'm getting them on Xbox too. But that's not what I'm talking about.
But don't you think all those crashes says a lot about the state of
No,
the
I'm
game?
not saying the game's in a good state. I'm not saying that. That's not even my argument. My argument has nothing to do with whether the game is...
Like, I could understand. They're like, okay, we fucked up. We're gonna give you, regardless of the Steam policy, if you're not satisfied, just like how Cyberpunk did to a certain degree, like, we're gonna refund you. I get it. Like, that I could understand. But are they doing that? I don't know if they did.
But what I'm saying is that whether the game is like doesn't crash or not, right? If you want 30 frames, then you're fine with 30 frames right now. Play the game.
Okay, let me ask you this. So I paid $70 for this game. I went to their store and I bought the physical copy with my cash. Do they expect my money that I spend on them? They can take that note somewhere else and spend it somewhere else to get the same value of things.
No, we're not saying that right yet. I'm not even saying that the crashing or anything. I'm not talking about any of that yet. I'm just talking about when the game first released, they said 30 frames, right? And the best way to play the game is 30 frames, right? So if you don't like that, then don't buy the game in the first place. You don't like 30 frames.
Well,
Like 30
what
frames.
I'm saying as a consumer is don't product like it's a final product when it's not.
If like even the reviewers that came, like they had reviews like 2 or 3 days before the game came out, right? Even they said 30 frames. But everywhere, if you really want to find out about this game,
I'll tell you this right now. I think a lot of the review, like, they need to consider the performance with it now. Like, they cannot just look at the game and the context of it and the game structure. No, they need to.
Okay, some people, yeah.
He talks a lot and he plays very
They
bad.
actually talk really negatively about the frame rate, right? Including IGN. But they said that outshines how good the game is.
It outshines the crash.
Well, they didn't really get many crashes, but some people are getting more crashes than other people. I've
Well,
only got
sure,
one.
but it is a known problem, yes?
Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't, but what I'm saying is that they said it outshines. That's got nothing to do with what we're saying. But they stated 30 frames a second. So if you really care,
Let me ask you, why would game crash?
I don't know.
Because something might bottleneck. And why would something bottleneck?
I've only ever had this game crash one time.
Because they didn't optimize the fucking game. It's part of the problem. It's not the only thing that causes a crash, but it is.
I don't give a shit whether they optimize it or not. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that from day one they said 30 frames. And they told you that. And that's what they said. They didn't tell you, oh, it's not going to crash or it's not going to be a bug. No, they never.
But did they say this was an unfinished game?
No, I'm not saying they didn't say that. All I'm just saying is they said 30 frames, yeah? So I expected 30 frames. And I got
Well, when I pay a full price for a game, right, that happens to match the other AAA game, I expect triple experience, right? AAA experience, don't you think so?
No, I understand that, but if a game tells me, yeah? 30 frames, yeah?
Oh,
And then I get 40 frames, or they tell me something else in the game, yeah? And then I get it, then they didn't lie, like I'm getting exactly what I'm paying for.
But they didn't technically lie about the average 30 frames, right? Because it does average
That's what I'm
out,
talking about. That's what
but
I'm talking
it is not
Good morning to listen
consistent.
to Radio Freedom, the voice by the Minutemen. All quiet here, that's how we like it.
I'm not saying everybody's gonna do that, because they might want
There,
more.
it's not even a little dip here and there like this game does, right? Because obviously there are a lot of people doing their thing, needs to load their loadout, and there's a lot going on, so I expect little frame dips here and there. But when the game becomes unplayable, it's a problem, right? Okay, let me ask you, did they, when they said that this game is finished, were they lying about the game or not? I think that's where we have the biggest disagreement.
When I was watching a streamer, yeah,
At Javier SZZ because he's doing two things at once. His CPU thinks he's a widow.
He got the 30 frames and wasn't having any problem in that area. He doesn't know why that's a thing. He can't answer that. But he said that's a thing in the game.
I don't know. I never ran the game either. But clearly, when people are talking about and this keyword that comes out as a performance issue, it must be, right? And it doesn't take away the fact that when it works fine, they said the game is great. It must be, right?
I'm not even talking about any of that, because I don't justify it crashing or nothing, right? I'm just, the only thing I justify is when they said 30 frames, I'm getting 30 frames, that's it. So if you don't like that, then don't play this game at the moment. Other crashes and everything, right, yeah? They happen on even the best fucking websites. I'm not saying I like them, but they happen.
Alert, we have a sentiment, need help.
This company at least is honest enough to say this is 30 frames. Whether they lie about anything else is not what I'm mentioning. All I'm mentioning is, did they lie about the 30 frames or not? They could have said 60, they could have even said 100 frames, right? And then you don't even get that. But at least they were honest enough to say there's 30 frames in.
No, I don't think they were honest enough by saying that this game is not fully finished.
Well, they could have said that too, but then that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that if you like 30 frames, then you're fine with this game. If you don't like 30 frames, then don't play this game.
I think we can say that about a lot of games, including the game that I'm playing right now at its initial release.
Yeah, but they didn't say that, did they? They probably told you to get 60.
No, I'm talking about the whole fucking drama when this game launched on around that date.
Yeah. Well,
it was bad.
From the YouTube videos I watched, right? Technically, right? We probably don't know it, but technically there's 16 times the detail in this game.
Sure.
Technically,
but
you can't see it. Technically, there is.
So going back to my point, do you actually believe that they did everything they can before they released, when they had obviously had time to make?
I never once said that. All I'm stating is, do I get 30 frames? Yes or no? When they say 30 frames, am I getting it? They didn't lie about that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of PC owners who doesn't get consistent 30.
Do you like Pilsun's mustache? I think it's sexy.
Supposedly. Otherwise, they would have praised this game.
But then there's a lot of people on the reviews, right? Even like little people who review the game, yeah?
It's this really similar argument with the Cyberpunk release. Like, they had money to hire an actor, a familiar face to promote the game, when they could hire more people to optimize the game within the deadline.
Many of you have red eyes. You have red eyes, lady?
It's like, what's more important, to promote, to sell this esque something, or putting out a good game as game developer? Like, they got the priorities kind of wrong, and I feel like that's kind of what they did with this game. There's a lot of assumption, I understand, because I don't have the game. I never ran it on my PC, but I think a lot of people are talking about it to a point where it's pretty valid, problem with this game.
I'm not saying it isn't.
And to charge you full price for a broken game, and it becoming a trend for last I don't know how many freaking years.
I didn't say I'd justify the price. I didn't mention any of that. All I'm mentioning is, did they lie about the frame rate? That's it.
Sure, you could just isolate the argument that way, but it doesn't take away the motive that's tying all this to it, and It's just greed and
that,
lack of
that's
transparency. That's it.
That's not what I've been saying for hours. All I've been saying for the last 2 hours is the same thing. Did they lie about the 30 frames a second? Yes or no? No,
Okay, so what if I made a game, right? In your base, you get 200 frames, and then when you go outside, you get 2 frames, and I call it, hey, you get 100 frames in this game. But when you go outside, the 2 frames is unplayable.
No, I understand that, and I get that, right? But that's because, and I'm not saying that everybody's going to know to you it's locked frames, yeah? I understand that. But then if you do lock the frames, yeah, you get a consistent 30 frames.
But people don't have to go out of their way to do any of that. If the in-game option gives you all these choices, you expect all these options to work properly.
I'm not disagreeing with you. But
if you have the hardware to run it.
No,
right?
I understand that people are expecting that you should be getting more. I understand that, and I agree with that. But they're not. And they're getting... And the main option that people are using, right, yeah, is 30 frames, right? And they're even saying on their little board, right, that it might drop below. But then even if you put the right setting on, you can get it to stop doing that. It's actually better than what they suggest technically.
At Javier SCZ, I like it because he looks 10 years younger with a beard.
Like it's locked 30
but a beard is not bad. I like Pilsoon, straight face, facial expression more.
I was fighting 2 dragons at one time, and
I'm sick of broken products on day one.
So am I, but I don't know. Yeah.
Just sick and tired of it. I think it's wrong in the name of consumerism.
On Atari today,
just because they have a way to fix the problem.
He needs to smile for an hour a day.
Electronically, they're like, okay, we can get away with this. I don't think that's fair. And when people review, we need to take reviewers seriously. Those who takes the performance into consideration too. Because
IGN did. But then IGN
I agree,
said
Pill.
that if you
It is crazy people are paying money to defend a broken game.
And you love the first
because
game,
they wouldn't do that with anything else. Any other products, they wouldn't do it. Not even with the digital music. If it came broken WAV file or whatever, they would have said something about it. Like,
yeah, but IGN said, yeah, that they would have given it a 10 out of 10.
Why isn't it
because
triggering?
They gave it an 8 out of 10 because it's bad performance. But they said if you're okay with 30 frames, you'll love this game just like the original. Because the original was 30 frames.
Is this about Dragon's Dogma 2?
yeah. And just general, like how the standard of like a gaming
If you ever played this game,
and then
make sure you're following
consumers standards, right? And a lot of people who plays video games are the crowds who has instant gratification and short patience, right? So like it's almost like they recognize this and try and take advantage of it at this point. Like, not to mention like this whole NVIDIA DLSS just trying to help for the purpose of the longevity of a hardware. Now I feel like this developer utilized it to be lazier when it comes to optimization because they rely on those. So I don't like where this is going. Because eventually you're gonna have some badass freaking hardware that runs shit looking games. So if you're a gamer in 2024, I suggest you. What the fuck, that guy has a sound though. I suggest you to just wait it out. Like, unless this is one of the anticipated game that you've been waiting for a long time. Like, you should just wait it out for that inevitable sale and the Game of the Year edition that they package with like all the DLCs.
First DD game was clearly developed with console in mind and then just ported to PC without much consideration.
There are a lot of games like
DD2
that.
is probably same.
Yeah. But
Oh, I'm getting.
did the first game had a simultaneous release of the PC?
Yeah. Yes.
Did it?
Yeah.
Something tells me it's not, but I could be wrong about that. It's like one long. When I got one long. Horrible optimization. Horrible. What do you call it? Port. Like they fixed it after I don't know how many months. It works fine and it plays well, and I kind of like certain aspect of the game compared to Neo. Considering how much I like Neo series.
However brief it may dies, children.
You gonna play Rise of the Ronin?
Let the dust.
When it comes to on PC, I think that's a PC. I mean, a console exclusive. Right?
Well, you wanna go from it went from $70 here, all the way down to $35.
A what?
It went from $70 yeah,
Uh-huh.
$69.99 to $35 within a week.
When did it come out?
Like a week ago.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. No, it's really got really bad reviews.
Oh, that's not good. I was expecting some more Team Ninja stuff.
First game was console only and came to PC with Dark Arisen expansion, I think.
Oh, okay.